Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by hills, there lived a young man named Elias. From the outside, Elias seemed normal. He worked hard. He smiled when people greeted him. He attended family gatherings. He spent time with friends. But inside, he carried something heavy. Every insult he had received. Every betrayal. Every disappointment. Every mistake. He remembered them all. Whenever someone hurt him, he replayed the moment in his mind. Whenever life felt unfair, he thought about it for days. Sometimes weeks. Sometimes years. The more he remembered, the heavier he felt. One morning, after another sleepless night, Elias heard about an old teacher who lived high in the mountains. People said the teacher rarely spoke. But when he did, his words changed lives. Desperate for peace, Elias decided to find him. After a long journey, he arrived at a small cabin overlooking the valley. The old teacher was sitting outside watching the sunrise. Elias approached him and said, "Master, my heart feels heavy all the time. I cannot find peace. I keep thinking about the people who hurt me and the things that went wrong in my life. How do I let go?" The old teacher listened quietly. Then he stood up and walked inside his cabin. A few moments later, he returned carrying an empty cloth bag. He handed it to Elias. "Tomorrow morning," he said, "come back here. But before you do, place a stone inside this bag for every person you have not forgiven." Elias nodded. The next day, he returned. The bag was heavy. Very heavy. The teacher looked at it and asked, "How many stones?" 37, Elias replied. The teacher nodded. "Good. Now carry it with you everywhere you go." Elias looked confused. "For how long?" The teacher smiled. "Until you understand." Days passed. Elias carried the bag to work. He carried it through the village. He carried it up hills and down narrow roads. At first, he didn't mind. But soon his shoulders began to ache. His back hurt. His arms grew tired. The bag seemed heavier every day. A week later, he returned to the teacher. "I don't understand," he said. "This bag is exhausting." The teacher asked, "Did the stones become heavier?" "No." "Then why does the bag feel heavier?" Elias thought for a moment. Then he answered, "Because I've been carrying it for so long." The teacher smiled but said nothing. Another week passed. The burden became unbearable. Finally, Elias returned once more. This time he dropped the bag on the ground. "I can't do this anymore." The teacher looked at him carefully. Then he asked a simple question. "Do you think the people who hurt you are carrying this bag?" Elias frowned. "No." "Then who is?" The answer hit him immediately. "I am." The teacher nodded. For a long moment neither of them spoke. Then the old man said, "Every grudge is a stone. Every resentment is a stone. Every wound you refuse to release becomes part of the load you carry through life." Elias stared at the bag. Suddenly he understood. The people who had hurt him years ago had moved on. Some barely remembered what happened. Others had forgotten entirely. Yet he was still carrying them. Every day. Everywhere. The teacher bent down, picked up one stone, and placed it in Elias's hand. "Tell me," he said, "who suffers when you carry this?" Elias looked at the stone. Then at the bag. Then at the mountain stretching beyond the horizon. And for the first time, he saw the truth. Forgiveness was never about freeing the other person. It was about freeing himself. Slowly, he opened the bag. One by one, he removed the stones. Some were easy to release. Others were not. A few brought tears to his eyes. But as the bag grew lighter, so did his heart. When the last stone was gone, the teacher smiled. "How does it feel?" Elias lifted the empty bag. "It feels light." The teacher nodded. "Exactly." As Elias began the journey home, he realized something important. Life gives everyone stones. Disappointments. Betrayals. Pain. Loss. That part is unavoidable. But carrying them forever is a choice. And sometimes the heaviest things in our lives are not what happened to us. They are what we refuse to put down. So if there is a stone you've been carrying for years, perhaps today is the day to ask yourself a simple question. Is it still serving me? Or am I simply carrying it because I've forgotten that I can let it go? Because peace often begins the moment we stop carrying what was never ours to keep.